Hi, welcome to the CSE Capstone projects for the fall of 2020 and then into spring 2021 next semester. So this is just a quick introduction video where I'm just going to cover what you need to do the first week of classes and give you an overall feel of what we do in this class. So the first thing you should note is that everything that you need to know is right here on this website. capstone.csce.sc.edu. You're probably already there, but just remember everything is there already for the semester, so check it out. When you go there, the homepage right now looks like this. It tells you exactly what you need to do on the first week of classes, and the first thing you need to do is watch this video, which you're doing, so you're doing good. The second thing you'll need to do is fill out the GitHub username form. This will be a little online form, which will be right here. And just ask for your GitHub username and your email address. I need everybody's GitHub username so I can add you all to our GitHub team. Once I have your username, I add it to the team, then you'll be able to click up here in our team discussion. This is the Capstone, the teams, the 490 Fall 20. And this is just our online discussion where I'm going to post just general announcements, and you can write, you can reply and write your own comments. I already posted here this little discussion looking for startup members. So if you're looking for a startup member, you can post here, say I'm looking for people to join my startup, or I have a startup idea, I want more people, that kind of stuff. And then, get in contact with other people in the class. The next thing so after you give me your GitHub username, I add you to the class discussion. Then the first week of classes, we need to form teams. So as you probably know, the way the Capstone class works is we're going to form teams of 4 or 5 students. That's 4 or 5, no more, no less. And each team is going to build an app. That's about it. So the first thing we need to do is to form those teams so we can get started working and figuring out what you're going to work on. So if you click over here, this will take you over to the team formation part, section in the 490 syllabus. So this is the 490 syllabus page, team formation section, which tells you how this works. Basically, there are 2 kinds of teams. We have client teams and startup teams. So a startup team is just basically, it's 4 or 5 students that work on whatever they want. It's like a startup company. They just decide, this is what we're going to do. Maybe, hopefully, do a little research about what their market is, what kind of users they're going to have. But, just build something that they want to build. The client projects will get assigned a client. That's a real person, either a professor or somebody from a local company that wants an app built for them, and then they will meet with that person, ask them what they want, and then build that. So the number so far this year is, so we have around 190 students signed up for this class, and let me show you here. Right now, I have just 8 projects. So if you do the math, each one is 4 or 5 students. That's between 32 and 40. Students with client projects. So the vast majority of the 190 are going to be startup projects. So please, start forming teams and forming startup teams and submitting that form. The flip side of it is that, maybe it's possible that I get too many startups. So I do want to have enough students to be able to do all these 8 projects, and there might be a couple more by the time you read this or watch this. So I might stop accepting client proposals, startup proposals. So just just know that we submit your startup proposal. I still have to approve it. If you take too long, I might not accept it. I might tell you that you have to join a client project. The deadlines are here in the deadlines page. So the 27th of August, any time on the 27th is fine. So the form should stay up until the 27th or the 28th. But like I said, I might close it before if I get too many. And then if for the people who then are going to be doing client project teams, they're going to have to submit the client project preferences form. So this is just going to be a list of the client projects, and you just tell me, I prefer this one, and then this one, and then this one. And that's what that is. So you're going to look through the client proposals, and you're going to look through them, read them, and say, oh, my favorite one is number 4, and then number 1, and then number 7, or whatever. And that's that form. What I do is I take those numbers and I put them through a little algorithm, and I try to give everybody their most preferred, as long, following the 4 or 5 students per group constraint. And that's how that's going to work. So hopefully that made some sense. So you're going to be either a startup team or in the client project, in a client team. So that was that for team formation. I'm going to go back up here to the syllabus, just go over the syllabus quickly, and then I'll go over a little bit of the milestones. So this is my name, Jose Vidal, my email address. Everything in this class is going to be done via GitHub, pretty much. So if you want to, when you have a question or whatever, the preferred method is via GitHub issues. So you can just, if you add Jose Vidal, so this is my GitHub username, also my name. It's easy to remember. So you can just, if you mention me or anybody in GitHub, they get a notification in GitHub, and then they know to go and check it out. So that's how you get into contact with me. You can create a new issue if you want, or use an existing issue, mention me or assign me the same. It works out the same thing, and then I'll reply. So that's the preferred method of communication. Of course, this is going to be after you get your repo, and because the way it works is your repo is visible by all your team members, which is what you want. You want everybody in your team to know about all the stuff that's going on in the team. But maybe, if it's like a personal matter, you don't want your teammates to know about it, and, really only personal matters, then, of course, email me. That's my email address. You can do that. The other thing I'm going to be using our departments or colleges, Microsoft Teams account setup. So basically just go to teams.microsoft.com, and then I log in with the same username and password that you use for the lab computers. And then you should be able to, contact anybody really in the college, but you can contact me to set up if you want to do a voice call or a video call. We can do that way. But that is, if we need to do a video or a phone call, that's what we're going to be using, the Microsoft Teams. And then, I'm going to have some office hours I'll post here in my calendar, and you can just visit. For now, here we have a teaching assistant. So this is one of them. There's going to be another one, email, and then GitHub username. Meeting time. So the one thing that's different this year from past year is, so typically we have, I meet with every team in my office every other week. So that's canceled. You see that. We're not going to do that. We didn't do it last term, the second half, and it wasn't a problem. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to use GitHub, just like we use for everything else. So mostly in those meetings, it was a progress report. So teams would come in and tell me this is what we've done. We're just going to use GitHub for that. So I'll create an issue on GitHub asking you for a progress report, and then you can give it right there on GitHub. You can write, we did this and that. And the other part of those meetings were, some Q&A. Well, again, we can do that in the GitHub issue itself, or create new issues. Or then, yes, if we, depending how things go, if we want to set up an actual video or voice meeting in, Microsoft Teams, we can do that too. But we'll just play it by ear. So, like I said, we mostly communicate via GitHub. Say it again. This is our GitHub organization, SC Capstone. There it is. So it's got a bunch of people and projects, etc. You can also mention if you do add instructors, then that's going to reach both me and the TAs. So if you want to reach all of us, do that. And then, yeah, I also recommend that you set up your own private, Slack, Discord, or, even Microsoft Teams account for your own team, your 4 or 5 team members. That's private to you, and you use that for communications. And then you can see that in this lecture, I talk more about that. The Capstone Lab, we do have a Capstone Lab with a bunch of machines, and it will be open this fall and spring. And so there's going to be a sign in the front door about how many people are allowed in there at any one time. I don't know what that number is. I think there are 12, 24, 28 machines. I don't know if there'll be 28 people allowed. I'm hoping. I don't know. But anyway, from last semester and previous years, the lab is pretty much empty most of the time, even on a normal year. So I don't think you'll have a problem if you do decide to go over there and use the lab. We also know that we have some, getting older now, Android and iPhones available. So if you're building an Android app or building an iPhone app, you can ask me, and then to borrow one of the phones for development. So, you should just actually, like it says here, you should just contact Ryan Austin. He's our sysadmin directly, because he's the one that gives them out and keeps track of who has what. So, but we do have those available if you need them. Grading. So this page here tells you how the class will be graded. So these are the various milestones or homeworks that you need to do. Each one is going to get graded, and this is the percentage of the final grade that is going to count for. One thing I do want to note is that most milestones milestones are either going to receive a team grade or an individual grade. So go here, click milestones. Like these milestones here will say grading team. That means that there's going to be one grade assigned to that milestone, and everybody in the team is going to get the same grade. Whereas other milestones are individual. That means each person in the team will get a possibly different grade for that. And then we have the personal contribution. So notice that the personal contribution is up to 100%. What does that mean? That means that, you could fail the class even if, all these are all A's. If you don't do anything, you're going to fail the class. And this is what this means. And the way that works is, I'm going to calculate your personal contribution at the end of the semester, when everything is done. And the way I do that is by looking at the peer evaluation. So everybody in the team at the end of the semester will be submitting a peer evaluation of everybody else. So this is, again, another online form. You just go in there and you tell me what everybody else in the team did. That's a private form that, only I see. So I'm going to look at those and see how everybody in the team evaluated you. I'm going to look at your personal log. So this is one of the milestones you'll see. And your Git log. Every time you do a Git commit, right, that gets committed, it's got your name on it, and it's got a little message saying what you did, and of course the actual work that you did. And then your participation. This wasn't in the group meetings in the class in my office, but now will be just participation in the online progress reports that you'll be submitting. So I look at all those things, and then I assign a grade of either satisfactory, poor, or unacceptable. So this is not really fine-grained because, I can't do that super fine-grained. But most of the people are just going to get satisfactory if it's obvious that you contributed enough. A few people might get a poor grade. If you get a poor personal contribution, your grade is going to be lower than the team grade. And if you get unacceptable, you will fail the class. So, like I said, typically vast majority of people are satisfactory. GitHub submissions, just know that everything has to be on GitHub and push to GitHub. So if you do work and it's on my laptop or whatever, I don't get to see it. We don't get to see it, so we assume it doesn't exist. So just make sure that everything is on GitHub. Everything you will be turning in will be either a GitHub wiki page or GitHub issues or the Git repo itself on GitHub. So make sure everything is there. We have this firing a team member section. So one of the things you can do if there's somebody in your team that just, hasn't shown up, hasn't done anything, and you just want to, let them know that they're going to fail the class, you can do this. So obviously if they don't do anything at the end of the semester, they will get an F because of their personal contribution. It will be 0. But if you want to give them a chance to step up, what you can do is propose to fire. So what you will do is after they haven't done anything, you can provide evidence that, see, they haven't done anything, we did everything so far, and you give that to me, I verify that, then we say, okay, well, what can this person do in the next 2 weeks? So you just come up with a task or a couple of tasks that they can do in the next 2 weeks, create those as GitHub issues, we assign them to the person, I tell them, this is the firing process, you have 2 weeks to do these things. If you don't do these things to the satisfaction of everybody else in the team, then you will fail the class. So that gives them an incentive to actually do work, and it's an ultimatum basically. This is your last chance to actually start contributing to the team, or you will fail the class. So it works. It actually works. Sometimes people will when they get that ultimatum, all of a sudden they realize, yeah, this is real. And they actually start doing work. Other times they don't, and then they just fail. Then we have all this stuff on academic integrity. So hopefully this is pretty standard, right? You don't cheat. You don't use anybody else's code. So note that in this class, basically just use your GitHub account only. Never use somebody else's GitHub account. So because that is like taking a test for them, right? So if you write code, use somebody else's account, to add that code, that is the same thing as taking a test under that person's name, and it will be reported as such. So just use your own GitHub account and don't use anybody else's GitHub account, and you'll be fine. Now there's the plagiarism issue. So obviously, you have to write all the code yourself. Don't use other code from somebody else. If you do, on the rare cases that you need to, remember there's the git -- author option where you can actually, commit code that and then attribute it to somebody else with that option. For the bits of code from Stack Overflow, we all understand that, that's a great resource and we're all going to use it. However, when you do use it, make sure you give them credit. So if you find the answer in Stack Overflow, make sure that when you cut and paste that into your code, you write a little comment that says, I got this from, and then cut and paste that URL. That is not just good, in a legal sense, but it's also super useful in a practical sense because, 2 months from now, you'll realize that you don't understand that code, you don't know what it does, and if you have the URL, now you can just click on it and go back to the page, which will hopefully, typically they do explain how it works, etc., and then you will understand, oh, okay, I understand better now what that does. So just make sure, when you do that, give credit. It's just like science. You can quote other people, but just quote them and then put their name on it saying, he said that, so I got this from here, and it'll be fine. There's no late work, because the way Git works, you're going to be committing code all the time or updating your wiki pages all the time. So whatever is there, when the deadline comes, that's what's there. There's no late work accepted. There's some other stuff here, instructional method feedback, so you can read all this other stuff at your leisure. So again, I want to point out the deadlines page, very useful. All the deadlines for this semester are already there. Then if you click over down here, I'm going to have forms. These are some of the online forms you have to submit, like the GitHub username form, which is not there right now, but it will be. And then down here are the milestones. Notice that I have the milestones for both semesters already here, but only the ones for this semesters are updated. So just look at this semester only. This is it. So this is what we're going to do this semester, starting with forming teams and then the final proof of concept demo. So basically, just to give you a general overview for the semester, we're going to form teams. The personal log is just a wiki page on your repo where every week you just say, this is what I did this week. This is very useful for communicating with your teammates about what you're doing, and also for me and the TAs to see what everybody else is doing. This shouldn't take too long. Then the research milestone is very important. So this is research as in, I'm going to the library to research a topic, not research as in graduate school where I'm going to invent new things. So once you decide we're going to use, Django or we're going to use Android, you have to learn to use your new software platform typically. So most teams will be using something that they're not super familiar with, and you're going to have to learn to use your platform. That's what this milestone is all about, is learning to use your platform. This is going to take a while, so I want you to decide early on what your platform will be, so that then you can all start learning it and you can start then contributing. So we're going to do that. You start early on, but it's not due till later. Then we have some designs milestones, a couple of milestones when you are designing how the app is going to look like. So this is like drawing user interfaces, just getting an idea of how things should look like. Requirements is the text version of it, where you write down, all the other requirements that we want the app to have. We want it to be able to do this other stuff, and this other stuff. So mostly your design and requirements, kind of go together. This is the pictures. This is the text of what you're going to be building. We have an architecture milestone where you are going to start looking at, actually how we're going to implement this. So just the big picture, big blocks of how we're going to break this app up into parts. Source control, we're going to learn to use Git and show that you can use Git as a team. We have another milestone where you're going to look at the ethical, legal, and security implications of your app. Just in general, just going over, trying to figure out all those things. And so all these things are going to be, up to here is around the half point in the semester. So, and then the second half of the semester, you're going to start coding for your final proof of concept. So at the end of the semester, there'll be a proof of concept, app that's due. So you have a release of your actual app. Again, read all this. This provides more information. And you're going to turn that in, and we're going to grade it. And then there's going to be a demo. So this is the other thing that's different this year. So typically we will have a live demo in class, so where you go in front of everybody and give a little live demo. So we're not doing that this year. You're basically just going to make a little video of the same demo and turn that in. So those are the only two differences this year from other years. No in-meeting, and no bi-weekly meeting in my office. Instead, that's moving online. And then the final presentation also moving online as a video. But other than that, it remains the same. So yeah, that's the end. So the proof of concept is going to be, again, do read all over this, but the idea is that it's a proof of concept to show that, hey, I can build, say an Android app, and it does something, and it works, and it's deployed. If it's a web app, it has to be deployed. If it's an Android app, it's got to work on an Android phone, and then do, like the real core functionality of your app. Like the one thing that your app must do, it does. So that's that. The other thing I wanted to mention before is, so when you click on the milestones, you'll see a lot of these will have a lecture section. It says you must watch this before that. So that's not working right now, but hopefully it'll be working by the time you see this. And this one's working. So you click over there and it'll take you to a lecture page. So we're here, we have some lectures, which are just web pages with a little video and then some text. So yeah, some of the milestones, before you do them, they'll say that you must watch that lecture. So do that. Just go to our webpage, watch the video, and read the text. And that's that.